Have you ever pulled up to a red light with absolutely nobody around and just sat there? No cars, no people, no movement. Just you, staring into the glowing red eyes of a machine that seems to hate you personally. And somehow, it always happens when you're in a hurry. You're late for work, late for school, late for something important, and suddenly this one traffic light decides that now is the perfect time to hold your life hostage. At some point, most of us have had the same thought. Who set this thing up? And why is it so bad? Because traffic lights seem simple, right? Red means stop. Green means go. Yellow means I can make it. At least that's what some people seem to believe. But traffic lights are doing a lot more than just changing colors. They are measuring, timing, detecting, coordinating, and adjusting, quietly and patiently keeping traffic from falling into chaos. And once you see what's actually going on behind the scenes, traffic lights start to look less like random annoyances and more like one of the most important hidden systems in everyday life. So today on Information Station, we're looking at the secret life of traffic lights. Let's begin by asking, why do some lights seem smart while others seem completely broken? And why do they feel unfair? Are they actually messing with you? Let's find out. Traffic lights are one of those things everyone has an opinion about. Everybody has that intersection, the one that stays red forever or skips your turn, the one that lets 3 cars from the other side go through while you sit there questioning every life choice that led you to this moment. And the weird thing is, traffic lights can start to feel personal. You know, logically, they're not targeting you. But after enough badly timed reds, it starts to feel like the system knows exactly when you're already annoyed and says, you know what this person needs? Another 90 seconds to reflect. And part of that frustration comes from the fact that traffic lights are one of the few devices we deal with every day that can directly control us. Your microwave can beep all it wants. Your printer can jam or your Wi-Fi can collapse emotionally. But a traffic light can essentially tell you, no, you're going to wait, and you do. So naturally, people want to know, how do these things actually work? It's easy to assume traffic lights work like simple timers. Green, then yellow, then red, over and over again. And yes, some traffic lights really do work, mostly on timing. But many of them are more complicated than that. A light at a quiet intersection may follow a basic schedule. But a busy intersection in a city might be responding to traffic flow, pedestrian crossings, time of day, and sensors built into the road. So the light is not just changing randomly, it's following a plan. That plan might not feel smart when you're stuck at a red, but it usually exists for a reason. Traffic engineers often time lights based on how many cars use an intersection and which direction gets the most traffic. They also consider how often pedestrians cross, whether the area is near a school, whether emergency vehicles pass through regularly, and the time of day. So the same intersection can behave very differently in the morning than it does late at night. And that's where the secret life starts. Because traffic lights aren't just blinking colors, they are making decisions based on invisible information most drivers never see. Now let's talk about one of the most common questions. How does a traffic light know a car is waiting? A lot of people think it's wait. Like your car rolls up to the line and presses on some hidden plate in the road. That's a really common belief. But in many cases, it's not wait at all. One of the most common systems is something called an induction loop. That's basically a wire loop embedded in the pavement. When a large metal object like a car stops over it, it changes the electromagnetic field in the loop, and the system detects that a vehicle is there. That's why you sometimes see rectangular or circular cut patterns in the road near intersections. That's the system listening for cars. So if you've ever pulled too far forward or stopped way behind the line, and the light didn't seem to notice you, that might actually be why. The light wasn't being rude, it just genuinely didn't know you were there. Some intersections also use cameras or other sensors to monitor lanes, count vehicles, or adjust timing based on real traffic conditions. So yes, the traffic light may be watching, but not in a sinister way. And here's where things get interesting. Not all traffic lights work the same way. Some follow fixed timing plans or respond to sensors. Some are coordinated with nearby intersections, and some are adaptive, meaning they can adjust based on changing traffic conditions. That's why one area may feel smooth, while another feels poorly planned and frustrating to drive through. A coordinated system tries to keep traffic moving along a corridor. That's where people talk about catching the green wave. If you're driving at the right speed, you may hit several green lights in a row. And when that happens, it feels amazing. You feel chosen, blessed, favored by the road gods. But if you hit the same route at the wrong moment, it's red light after red light, and suddenly your 5-minute trip feels much longer than it should. This happens because the system is not trying to make every individual driver happy. It's trying to move the most traffic as efficiently and safely as possible. And this is probably the most important part. Traffic lights often feel unfair because they are designed for the whole intersection, not for your personal experience. The system has to account for a lot at once. It has to manage the main road, the side street, left turn lanes, pedestrians, buses, and emergency vehicles. It also has to handle rush hour flow, safety delays, clearing the intersection, and sometimes even nearby intersections. So when you're sitting at a red light wondering why the other side is getting so much time, the answer is often simple. That direction probably has more demand, more traffic, or more conflict points to manage. The light is not asking, how can I make this one driver happy? It's asking, how do I keep this entire intersection from turning into chaos? And once you think about it that way, traffic lights start to seem less like bullies and more like referees in a game where everyone thinks the calls are unfair. By the way, if you like videos that uncover the hidden logic behind everyday things, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to Information Station. Now here's the bigger story. Traffic lights are not just a convenience. They are one of the inventions that helped modern cities function. Before traffic signals became widespread, intersections were much more chaotic. As more cars showed up, cities needed a way to organize movement safely. Because once you have people walking, cars turning, bikes moving through, buses stopping, and impatient humans all trying to claim the same patch of road at the same time, things get ugly fast. Traffic lights helped create order. They turned an argument into a schedule, and that sounds boring until you realize how important that is. A well-run traffic signal can reduce crashes, manage congestion, protect pedestrians, and keep entire streets from locking up. In other words, when traffic lights work well, you barely notice them. And that is the curse of good design. So let's go back to that moment from the beginning. You're sitting at a red light, nothing is moving, and it feels like the universe has pressed pause on your life for no reason. But now you know there usually is a reason. The light may be following a timing plan, waiting on a protected turn phase, or handling a pedestrian cycle. It may also be coordinated with nearby intersections, or reacting to a sensor that didn't detect a vehicle correctly. Maybe traffic engineers had to choose the least frustrating option, and unfortunately today that option was not in your favor. But it does reveal something kind of fascinating. Traffic lights have a secret life because they are doing invisible work all around us all day long, trying to manage human movement in a system where everyone wants to go first, which, when you think about it, is basically the entire story of traffic. So the next time a traffic light makes you wait longer than you want to, remember that it may not be broken, stupid, or even unfair. It may simply be solving a problem you can't see from the driver's seat. And that is the secret life of traffic lights. Thank you for watching Information Station. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video.